Hey there, Ali here. I'm a movement teacher based in Vancouver, Canada. Today I'm going to take you through a movement and mobility routine that you can do either first thing in the morning before you go to work to feel more energized and open, or you can do it later after work in the evening when you come back and you've been sitting all day and you feel stiff and you want a way to move and stretch. This is more specifically targeted towards people who are feeling a bit more stiff, who are maybe spending a lot of hours sitting, but it's also in all levels routine, so you can feel free to add to it or subtract from it as you want. Last note, I'm not using a mat here. If you do want to use a mat and you have one, it's probably a good idea to put your knees on it and have some extra padding. That being said, whenever you're ready, we're going to start in a seated position just for a minute. You can even lie down. We're just finding a minute of stillness. It's always a good idea, in my opinion, to start any sort of movement practice with just a minute of getting grounded and getting still and just rooting down into your body. So let's just come into a seat or lying down. And once you're there, just notice what's present. Notice any sense of exhaustion that you have, or any sense of tiredness or soreness or pain, anything that's present. And all I want you to do now is to just tune into the weight of your body on the floor, any sounds around you other than my voice. And finally, just tune into your breath. Just watch your next few breaths. You can start to bring more awareness into your breathing, but you don't have to make it very deep necessarily. Just a couple more here. Okay, we're going to slowly start moving now. So the first thing we're going to do is to come onto all four limbs into a tabletop position. So you have your hands on your shoulders, knees under the hips. Spread your fingers on the floor, spread your palms on the floor, and all we're going to do here is to take a few rounds of cat-cow. If you've done any yoga class, this should be familiar. So as you press the hands on the floor, I'm going to inhale through the nose, send our head up towards the ceiling, send the tailbone up. And as we exhale, we're going to tuck the chin in around the back. Just a few more like this. Inhale, lift the head up, lift your butt up. And exhale, tuck the chin in, round the back. Let's do one more. When I come back to center, I'm just going to move the spine in any random direction that you want, that feels good. You just want to basically start loosening up the spine a bit, so you start making some waves with your spine. You can move the hips around in circles. You can move the shoulders, the head and the neck. No right or wrong here. You can feel free to just explore. You can bend the elbows more. Make sure to include the neck too. Say a happy spine leads to a happy life. I don't think they say that, but I made that up. So, after that, all we're going to do here is tuck our toes underneath us, press into the floor with the hands. Again, spread the palms, spread the fingers, lift the knees up, lift the hips up, send the chest back towards the wall behind us, and make this V shape with our body, or downward facing dog. Now, notice here, your legs don't have to be straight. They don't have to be straight. Your heels don't have to touch the floor. You can just be on the toes, bend the knees. But I want you to focus on pressing into the floor. So instead of being in that push-up position, I want you to press into the floor to send the chest back and open the shoulders there. Just take a couple of breaths here. In through the nose and out. If you want to pedal your feet, meaning you can straighten one leg at a time, that might feel good for the hamstrings or for the calf muscles. You can do that. Just take one more breath. What we're going to do from here, press into the toes, shift ourselves forward to come into a high plank. So you can use your knees for support, of course, if you want to, if you need the extra support. If not, have them lifted. Engage your glutes, engage your core, round your back a little bit. And as you exhale, you're going to go back to downward facing dog. I'm going to do that 2 more times. So inhale, shifting forward over the high plank. Really press through the shoulders. And as you let it go, exhale, downward facing dog. Extend the chest back. One more round. Go forward. And as you exhale, go back. Now what we're going to do from here is to slowly walk the feet forward, forward, forward towards the hands. You can bend the knees as much as you want to. You're just going to fold forward over your legs. And let your upper body just hang over your legs. Here you can maybe sway from side to side. You can kind of shake the shoulders a little bit more. Loosen things up more. Take one big breath through the nose. And let it go. And from here, just keep pressing through the feet. We're going to slowly roll the spine up. Come all the way up. Once you're there, we're going to step our feet a little bit wide. Just a little bit. And then once you bend the knees, we're going to bring the hips down to come into a deep squat. So, with this deep squat, depending on your mobility of the ankles, you might have to lift the heels up for balance, and that's totally perfect. If you have to do that, you can do that. If you find yourself kind of crouching forward a little bit, slouching forward, that's totally fine. Over time, you want to find this comfortable position of bringing the heels down and being in a restful position. Again, if you're not there, totally perfect. So what we're going to do from here is to bring the elbows on the inside of the legs. And by the way, one thing I forgot to say, if you have your heels lifted up, you can simply put, and if it's uncomfortable, you can simply put a block or roll up a towel and bring it for support, or roll up a mat even, just something that supports your heel. So if you have to go ahead and do that, do that. And then the next thing we're going to do, bring the elbows on the inside of the legs, press the hands against each other, press the hands in towards each other too, as we slowly try to open our knees out to the side. So you are looking for, in addition to everything that the squat offers, you're also looking for a nice stretch on the inside of the leg in the groin area. We'll take 2 more breaths here. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my right hand, reach it 45 degrees out to the side, place the fingertips on the floor in front of me, And then, as I take an inhale through the nose, I'm going to open myself up to the left side, twist, and reach up with the other arm. As I exhale, I bring it in, and I'm going to do 2 more. So inhale, open the chest, reach up. Exhale, bring it down. Last one, inhale, open, reach up. And exhale, come down. The breathing is quite important. So I want you to, as you do this, breathing through the nose, expand your chest, really open. So you're going to reach the left arm out to the side now. Same thing. I'm going to take one big inhale, open up, reach. And come back. Open the chest, reach. And exhale. Last one. And bring it down. From here, we're just going to take our hands behind us, bring our butts to the floor. If the squatting was too much, feel free to straighten the legs first, shake it out, or whatever you need to do to rest. The next thing we'll do is have my hands behind me, just behind the shoulders. And I'm going to bring my feet on the floor, a little bit wider in the hips, or widen the shoulders. And from here, I'm going to take my knees all the way to one side for this windshield wiper action. I'm going to bring it up, take it to the other side. And as we repeat, as we go through this, I want you to not rush it and really focus on the quality of movement and the range of motion that you're going to explore with the knees. Of course, if you can't bring the knees all the way to one side, that's totally fine. Over time, we'll get there. But I want you to focus on exploring the full range of your hips. Just a couple more times. And as usual, we're going to breathe easily through this. And now we're going to come back. We'll actually stand up here again. So you can press yourself into a squat and then bring yourself all the way up. This time, we're going to bring our feet quite wide, maybe twice the width of the shoulders. And you might need to adjust this over time depending on where you are. And the first thing we're going to do is going to bring our hands on the hips. As we shift the hips back, I'll actually show you from this angle. As we shift the hips back, we're going to send the chest forward. So we're not going to round it back here. We're going to send the chest forward and down. And fold any amount that your body allows you to until you hit your limit. And then we're going to come back up. We're actually going to breathe at the top. And exhale, go down. Breathe, come up. 2 more times. Exhale down, send the butt back, chest forward. 1 last time. And go forward and down. We're going to hold this for 10 seconds. If you want to bring your hands down onto the floor for this, you can do that too. For 1 last time, just inhale through the chest, expand the chest. And fold a little bit deeper on your last exhale. And we're just going to press ourselves back. We can bring the hands on the hips. Bring yourself up. Same thing. I'm just going to switch orientation so you can see. We're in the same stance. This time, just open your feet a little bit wide. Just 20, 30 degrees out to the side. What we're going to do is to bend the knees and come into this horse stance where we just sink the hips any amount. If you have to play with the position of your feet, you can do that. For now, hands can be on the hips. We're just going to bounce up and down a couple times. As we breathe through this, maybe go a little bit deeper. Again, depending on where you are, any depth is good in any pose. Go to your deepest limit. And then we're going to come up. And shake the legs up a little bit. And now I'm going to take you through a couple of variations here. And it's going to progress to get a little bit more challenging. So what I'm going to do, this is my right leg here. I'm going to bend that knee. And that foot, I'm going to lift that heel up for now. So bend the knee, lift the heel up. I'm going to keep bending it more and more as I keep this leg straight. The other foot is rooted down to the floor. I'm going to go down any amount. Right now I feel a stretch here. Feel a little bit of a stretch. The other leg too. Any amount. And then come up. And I'm going to switch. So I'm going to bend my left leg, lift the heel up, and go deep. This other leg, try to keep it as straight as possible. If it has to bend a little bit, that's fine. We just want to mainly bend this leg now. And then come back up. We're going to do it one more time, but instead of lifting the heel up, we're going to try to keep it to the floor as much as possible. So we're going to bend this right leg again. Keep the other one straight. Both feet are rooted down. Going to go down. Any amount. And come back up. The other side, bend the knee. The other leg stays straight. Go down. Go to the furthest that you can. And come up. And lastly, we are going to bend that right leg again. To go to the side. And this time, instead of coming back up and to the left, we're going to try to stay as low as possible here. Simply just shift my hips to the middle. Come into this horse stance. Straighten the other leg. Come to the other side. And then inhale, come to the middle. And exhale, shift sides. I'm going to do one more round. So come to the middle, inhale. Shift your weight to one side. Middle. And the other side. And that's it. Just going to come back to center. And come back up. If that felt good, I encourage you to do a couple more rounds. If that was enough, just going to let that go. And actually come back down to the floor. We're going to go onto the knees. Let's show it this way. Going to go onto the knees. And I'm going to do this pose called a puppy pose, where I just take my hands in front of me. And I'm going to go and bend my knees to take my hips over my knees. So the hips will be stacked over the knees. So I'm not going to this child's pose. I'm going to have my hips stacked over the knees. I'm going to stretch my arms forward. I'm just going to send the chest down towards the floor. The goal here is to feel a shoulder stretch here. As you inhale, just expand your chest. And then try to go a little bit deeper. If this is too easy, and if you want to make it a bit harder, you can come onto the fingertips, which gives you a little bit more elevation. And same thing. Even juicier would be for your head to also look forward. Stay there for one more breath. Now we're going to slowly come out. You can bring yourself up. And next thing we're going to do, just going to lie down on the floor. Once you're down on the floor, bring your feet hip distance apart, a little bit wider than the hips. What we're going to do is press our feet into the floor, press the lower back into the floor. So if you have any space between your lower back and the floor, try to eliminate that by pressing it into the floor. Engage the glutes now as you press your feet into the floor. I'm going to lift the hips up slowly, then the lower back, then the mid back, and part of the upper back. And then we're going to come down. I'm going to do 2 more rounds of this. So we're going to press through the feet, lift up, and come down. Lift up, and come down. We're going to do it one last time, but this time hold. So press through the feet, lift the hips up, highest that you can, and we're going to hold this. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can try to tuck the shoulders underneath you. As you interlace the hands behind the back, puff up your chest towards the ceiling. Really engaging the glutes, lifting the hips as high as possible. And slowly we're going to come back down. Next thing we're going to do is take your knees all the way to the right side, to come into a little twist. As I stretch my left arm, the opposite arm to the side, and I'm going to look towards my arm. Just staying here for about 15 to 20 seconds. If you want to go a little bit deeper into this, you can always wrap your bottom leg on top of your top leg. Go a little bit deeper. Okay, time to switch sides. It's going to come back to center. You can shift your hips the other way as you bring your knees all the way to your second side. Stretch your opposite arm out to the side, and you can look to the side. Again, feel free to play with the legs to go any depth that you want. You're going to slowly come back to center. Now what we're going to do now is to bring your feet up as we bend the knees for this happy baby pose, where I'm going to take the outer edge of my feet with the hands. As I slowly pull my knees towards my armpits, towards the floor, you kind of rock from side to side as you do this. And the more you pull, the more of a stretch you will feel, so you can control how deep you're going here. One thing that could be nice to explore, that you can try, you can roll to one side. So I'm rolling to my left, and now I'm going to straighten the bottom leg as much as possible. So I'm straightening my left leg. I'm still pulling with my hand, and then I'm going to come back to center. The other way. I'm going to roll all the way to the right, straighten my right leg as I pull with the hand, and back. I'm going to do that one more time. Roll to the left, straighten the bottom leg as much as possible, and then last side. Okay, last couple things here. I'm going to come into a sort of an inversion or a shoulder stand. There's a couple of different options here for people. So the first thing I would recommend, and at any point if this does not feel good for your back or your neck, just come down and skip this one. But you can start with pressing into your elbows as you lift the hips up and support it with the hands. So right now I am being supported on my upper back. So I can start to straighten my legs even a little bit more if that feels good. What I don't want to do is to go onto my neck. My neck is right now free of any pressure and weight. I'm more on my shoulders. Maybe reaching your legs a little bit straighter up. And then to go a little bit deeper here, you can roll even a little bit more back, still not putting too much pressure on the neck, as we try to maybe reach our feet to the floor behind us. If that is not accessible, you can always reach it as far as you can. See how it goes. My arms can be straight on the floor, or I can still be on the elbows. And whenever it feels good, you can slowly roll yourself back onto the floor, one vertebra at a time, and come down. Last thing here, I'm going to bring the sole of my feet together on the floor as I let my knees drop wide into this butterfly position. Let gravity do the work here as it pulls your knees down. And you can bring one hand on the chest, one hand on the ribs to just take the next few breaths as you feel the rise and fall of your chest. Okay, we are done here. So we can just roll onto one side as we come out. And you can press yourself up and finish this session. What I would recommend before going off to do your thing, whether that's work or sleep or hanging out with friends or family, is to just take another 1 or 2 minutes to really, again, either sit or lie down to end your practice also with a moment of stillness, to just feel the echo of all that movement and breathing in your body. Notice any shifts in your mind and body. Hopefully you feel a bit more open mentally and physically after the session. And I wish you an amazing rest of your day or evening. My name is Ali, and you will see more of me soon. Cheers.